Good morning, everyone. Welcome to July 17th pre-market session. How is everyone? It was great seeing a couple of you guys yesterday in the event. So it was a great session yesterday, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, hope to see the rest of you guys in the next one. Good morning. All right, let's get started. Let's start with analyzing the news, the events, and the market. So we had housing starts report. Overall, it was mixed economic data, not enough to change the market direction. And S&P 500 and Nasdaq both gapped down and are pushing lower, which I will talk about them in a second. And semiconductors are selling off. Global chip stocks are down. Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, TSMC, a lot of these names are basically pushing lower and dragging Nasdaq with themselves down. On the geopolitical side, US-Iran tension remain elevated. Crude oil is around $80, so it went a little bit higher again. Let's take a look at the crude oil. It is around 80 and it is holding around this zone. So this is a clear breakout of the moving averages, the 200 SMA and the critical point of 80, and retesting it and holding right above it. So if this trend continues and we push higher, it can affect the equities market and we might see some sort of sell-off. Netflix had earning, and the price of Netflix is selling off from 74, 75 down till 65. Slight earning per share beat and revenue is in line, and it had softer Q3 guidance, and as a result, stock is down heavily, getting below 670, and now we are holding around 65-ish area. So this is a very serious level. The level that we just broke was a very important level. We actually went way below it, so the next major zone would be around 63, 64. So Netflix definitely on watch for possible volatility. It is already weak, already sold out a lot, so in case it pulls back, we want to see if it can hold 70 and reject 70 or not. Okay. Yeah, that would be it for the events of the day. Yeah, that would be it. So a couple of Meta is hiring Amazon executive Dave Brown, and SpaceX postponed the launch. So these are just a couple of other news and events in the market. Let's talk about the S&P 500. Finally, we are seeing some sort of breakout and change of structure on the overall market. You see, this is the same exact zone that we have been talking about, that SPY is stuck in 748, 750, and 755, 756. It's finally breaking the level. I mean, it did broke the level, and we are holding way below the zone with the whole semiconductor sell-off and the geopolitical tensions. We are holding right at the 50 SMA on daily chart. Now, this is a very important zone, obviously, for the daily chart, and like as you guys can see, we held this zone pretty well. Right, we did break below 50 SMA multiple times in the last couple of weeks, but we always held the zone pretty strongly. Okay, so what is happening right now is again a breakdown, a test of 50 SMA, and now in the pre-market we are rejecting the 50 SMA and selling off, at least for now in the pre-market. So The pre-market low of 742.5 would be a very important zone on watch for a possible breakdown continuation. If that happens, the price can go potentially down to 741, 740 zone. And this is the same exact zone that the price held multiple times in the last couple of weeks, right? Or a couple of maybe months, almost last 2 months, right? So we have been holding 739, 740, 741 since at least since June 17th, and before that we were able to hold this zone again as well. So if the price breaks down, if we see some sort of sell-off and break down below 742.5, we could see SPY selling off and pushing back down to this demand zone. Now, what happens around this demand zone is basically something that we have to monitor and watch for the reaction of the price around these zones. If we hold the pre-market level and bounce here above the 50 SMA, which is sitting around 744, could be on watch for a retest of the pre-market high of 746, and then there's a gap to fill all the way up till 748. That is also a very possible scenario. Remember, we have been holding the 50 SMA for so long, and we might still hold it. Now, how can we be sure that we will break down and we will sell off? If we can see the selling pressure and we see the price getting below this 742.5 and actually hold it with a strong bearish momentum, that is where we will be able to see it, a possible continuation to the downside and retest of this key demand zones. Okay, Qs, pretty similar setup here. So again, on Qs, if you remember, the key zones that I mentioned in the last couple of days was 697, 698, $700, and it was basically holding in before yesterday it was around 710 and 715. Yesterday we broke it, pushed all the way lower, and it was basically stuck in this 700 and 710 12 zone. Finally, that level is also broken, and we are actually selling off below not only 50 SMA, because 50 SMA is way above these areas. It's around 720 on Qs, if you remember, right? The 50 SMA is right around these areas, and we have been below the 50 SMA for at least 2 days right now. But also we broke down with the whole semiconductor weakness. The price went all the way down below 695, and it retested 695, 696 area, and so far it rejected it. So now this zone will be my resistance zone on Qs, and I would like to see how the price react to this level. Now, if we keep rejecting 695, 696, and the price keep pushing lower, that is going to be a good sign for selling pressure. The first key demand zone would be around 687-ish. This is the same zone that we held multiple times previously back in June 9th. This is the big sell-off day. We hit these zones and bounce back up. And below this 687, we actually have a gap to fill down till 682. So it's going to be very interesting price action if the price actually drops and sells off. But we might also retest these areas and bounce here and push all the way higher again, and break out of this 697-ish area and push higher, because we have a gap above this area that's just created today in the pre-market as well. So both of those scenarios are possible. It depends on how the market reacts when to these levels when the market opens. All right, so the key zones would be the pre-market low of 690.5, 690, and a resistance of 697 all the way up till this 700 zone would be a key resistance for Qs in case of any kind of bullish movement or sentiment. All right. So with that being said, let's take a look at SMH here so that we can have some sort of understanding why Qs is so weak. So SMH is, let me change these zones to our resistance zones because they are technically acting as resistance right now. SMH, as you guys can see, sold off heavily. We rejected the 50 SMA, and as you see, the price of Nasdaq is very similar to SMH. It shows the effect of semiconductors on Nasdaq, right? And the price of SMH is clearly weak, selling off. The price broke below 565. That was almost yesterday's close. And we gap down, hit 550-ish zone, 555-ish area, and right around these areas. And we just rejected it in the pre-market. We hit the zone, rejected the zone, and we are going lower. So below this zone, we have, finally, we are selling off here, I guess. So below this zone, we have a major level of 537.8, and then after that, the next major zone would be 510. Now, I'm not saying we will go all the way down to 510, but we will have the scenarios that might happen. So if we get below this 544, the next key zone would be 536.35, and then we will have to look for the reaction of the price around these areas. In case of hold, in case of in case the price holds the pre-market zone and push higher, 556-ish zone on watch. In case the buyers are in control, we can go for a gap fill all the way up till this 560 area, and that would be the next key resistance on SMH. So yeah, let's go over a couple of tickers here. Apple is very strong right now. It gapped up yesterday in the after hour, and then it retraced back and pushed back down to 332-ish zone, and it's holding around that area. So in case the market becomes weak and starts selling off, Apple's price action wouldn't be that favorable probably, because yesterday the market was selling off and Apple was holding. It ends up being really choppy. Now, if Apple breaks below 329 or especially below 325, 326, then probably we might see some sort of clean bearish setup. Might be able to see some sort of bearish setup on Apple all the way down till 317, 318. Tesla. Tesla is trying to break down. The demand is clearly there, and in the pre-market we are back below 385, right? This is the same area that we held yesterday and pushed all the way higher. In the pre-market we are below this low of yesterday, and we are in the middle of this key demand of 380, 385. I would like to see Tesla below this 380 for a clear seller's control for going short, not in the middle of excuse me, not in the middle of this range, especially with current Tesla's price action, that sellers cannot really control the move and push the price lower, at least so far above these demand zone. If in case the demand zone get broken, we might see Tesla selling off and give us some clean price action. In the last couple of days, weeks, months, the price action is not really that clean, except in 1 or 2 days. So not a fan of trading Tesla probably. Nvidia, massive drop. It rejected 212 multiple days in a row, and finally we are pushing back down below the moving averages on the daily chart and clearly holding below this 203. So in case the price breaks below this 200 zone, we could see Nvidia sell off down till 197, 195, and then 192-ish area. Obviously above 203 on watch for a short, quick gap fill scenario if that happens, and if the semiconductors overall push back up higher. Well, Google was actually was setting up really well right below this zone. It didn't hold clearly and clearly acted as a massive resistance, and the price is weak and selling off right now. So Google on watch below this pre-market low for a possible continuation down till 336-ish area. But I think the key, I think the clean short scenario might happen below this 336, 335, all the way down till 320, 25-ish area. But we probably need some sort of consolidation for a while on Google, because we already had a massive sell-off yesterday, and in the pre-market we are also weak. So the first thing I would be watching would be seeing if this level of 348, 350 can act as a resistance and hold the price or not. That would be the first and most important thing when it comes to Google's price action. AMD is finally out of this range. Again, do you remember? 500, 550 was the two key zones on AMD that I mentioned in the last couple of days, and finally we are getting out of the zone. What happened with the whole semiconductor weakness? We're seeing AMD breaking below this resistance. This was a key demand of 500, but what happened yesterday? We broke down, retested the zone, and boom, sold off. And now in the pre-market, we rejected yesterday's low and we are pushing back lower. Now below this pre-market low of 474, 475, AMD can potentially go down to 455-ish area, and then the next major level would be around 440. So we just started breaking down below a very important zone on AMD. If this selling pressure continues, AMD can be a really clean setup moving forward for possible short trades. Okay, so definitely AMD on watch below pre-market low and below this 474, 475-ish area. Again, if it keeps holding the zone, we will be able to have some sort of gap fill set up for a possible continuation above the zone. Let me check out the daily chart on yeah, so pretty much the same. We don't have a gap. I wanted to see if we have a gap. We filled that gap before. So yeah, we below this zone, the main area on watch would be 472, which is very close to the low of the day, sorry, the pre-market low. And then we can go down till 456 and maybe 440. In case of hold here, we might see a squeeze pushing the price higher and retesting the 50 SMA, which will be right around this $500 zone. Okay. So Intel, same, very weak. And yesterday, finally, we broke out of this key demand of like 98, 100, 105. And in the pre-market, we are keeping we are still weak. The price action is still holding below these key areas. The weakness is there with the whole semiconductor names, and below the pre-market low, definitely on watch for a possible sell-off continuation down till 87, 88. That is yeah, that is going to be 150 SMA on the daily chart on Intel. Meta didn't hold quite well around these areas. It pushed all the way back down to these zones. Now 640 could be a good area for demand pressure, and in case that happens, we might be able to see some sort of retest of this 640 and push back up and having a strong bullish move on Meta if the market starts strong and continues moving higher. Now the S&P 500, Nasdaq, they're both weak, at least in the pre-market, but we might continue pushing all the way higher. Again, remember, a lot of these massive gap downs, like most of the times, it continues bouncing back up and at least retesting the levels and keeps and then continue the rejection. If something like that happens, again, don't freak out. Don't expect the price to just go down straight right off the bat when the market opens. We might see some sort of push back up higher, retest of these zones, and then continuation. So expect all different scenarios that might happen. If that happens, Meta could be a good setup for a possible push higher, breakout of this 667.8, 657, 658, and push higher, retest of 678-ish area. It could happen. MU. MU, pretty much the same price action, very similar to Intel. And as you see, this resistance is getting rejected. So we broke below 860, 880, and now in the pre-market we retested the zone and rejected it and pushed back down. So below this 805, 800 zone on MU, below the pre-market low, 810. We could continue selling off, go down all the way down till 765-ish area. Again, the key zone on watch would be this resistance of 860, 880, and the pre-market low. Microsoft is holding pretty well. I like this hold. Yesterday it was basically weak with the whole market, but it kept the momentum and it kept the price above 390, 393.4. So that is a good sign for Microsoft. So if Microsoft keep holding this zone, we are gonna possibly see some clean setups for possible bullish momentum if the market keeps bullish and continue to move upward. At least for the first few minutes of the market open, we might see something on Microsoft, or if it keeps holding the next couple of days, it will be on watch for the next couple of days. Amazon is back in the chop. I don't like it, and PLTR pretty much the same. And finally, Netflix below the pre-market low, definitely on watch for possible continuation or possible retest of 70. On watch for possible bullish movement, basically profit taking, retest of 70, and then see if you will see some sort of rejection around those areas or not. All right. Awesome. So with that being said, I will be going ahead and trade live with the team. If you want to join us, you can check out the link in the description and trade live with us. I will see you guys in the next one.